Aidan Hutchinson, in particular, as we get to the midway mark here, as you mentioned, with the 6 games in, is just playing out of his mind, dominating people. There's a reason that he came back. You can tell he's on a mission, both personally and for the team. And there was the shot of him just screaming and yelling in the face of Jim Harbaugh after the game. So this meant a whole lot to him. And again, people are noticing across the nation that this guy's an All-American type.
Yeah, that's a great point. You mentioned real quick before I talk about him and run out of adjectives to describe how good Aidan Hutchinson has been. Being down there at that game, and we went right down to the tunnel area for the post-game press conference, able to walk by the locker room and sneak a little bit of a peek before you get yelled at or whatever. You could tell, and it was apparent just how much this win meant to that team. And I think it made almost you kind of feel like they should have done a little more, and the second half was a little sloppy. But then you saw how much it meant to them, and watching some of the clips and rewatching the game and everything, the excitement, Jim Harbaugh running off the field, ignoring the sideline reporter, which, by the way, I don't think he saw her. He's so in his zone sometimes that given that fist pump, you could tell how much it meant to this team. And that includes Aidan Hutchinson, which is a great way to segue, because more than anything he's done this year is he's led this team, especially on defense. Outstanding pass rusher, 5.5 sacks on the season, which leads the Big Ten, 9th in the country. And not only is he doing that and getting his own, but he's freeing up other guys. When you watch this team, this defense play, he's getting double teamed. He's getting chipped by tight ends, which is allowing David Ojabo, the guy on the other side, to have 4.5 sacks on the season. This is a guy who's from Scotland, who hadn't played a ton of football and is getting better and better by the snap almost. Some guys get better by the week or by the month or by the season. He's getting better by the snap because he's finally getting game experience and is becoming a guy that you can rely on, opposite of Aidan Hutchinson. But you call him a freak, you call him unblockable. Like I said, you run out of adjectives to a certain extent, because talking about this guy has been incredible. Named a midseason All-American by ESPN.com this week. One of 24 guys on there, 11 offense, 11 defense, 2 specialists, and rightfully so. He's looking like he's a top 10 type of pick, and people thinking he could potentially overtake Thibodeau from Oregon as the number 1 edge defender in the draft next year. But he's fully focused on the moment and has just been outstanding. Like I said, nothing has been more exciting to watch than the way he's kind of led this team, and they feed off of him. It's been outstanding to watch. And the fact that he came back for this after being hurt last year, you can just tell it means a ton to him, that they're winning football games more than anything. He's getting his accolades as well. And, he is a big reason why this defense has been able to be pretty good. I'd say good, not really good, but pretty good and good enough right now. A lot of that is because of him.
We talk Michigan football with Clayton Sayfie on a regular basis. You can join Clayton there at thewolverine.com. Please like the video, share the videos out on social media, and subscribe right here at the Voice of College Football. And remember, we've got Michigan postgame for you right here after every Michigan game. Bye week, but be here the next Saturday with Northwestern on tap. All right, I want to run down a few players here. You mentioned Aidan Hutchinson obviously has been the star, the monster on that side of the football, but it's a team sport, especially on defense. Josh Ross is a guy that Jim Harbaugh has mentioned as playing as good a linebacker as what he has seen in his tenure at Michigan. He leads the team with 40 tackles, 4.5 tackles for loss. And just your thoughts about Josh Ross's play through 6 games.
Yeah, Jim Harbaugh said that last week, and he's coached Devin Bush, a consensus All-American top 10 pick as a middle linebacker. So, objectively, I think Devin Bush was a little better. He had more physical tools, and I think many people would acknowledge that. But, I don't think Jim Harbaugh was going overboard even saying that about Josh Ross. Not only is he another leader on the defensive side of the ball that they've needed and, has been that top communicator. You can see him, going up to guys, like shoving them in the right direction before the play, or, looking over to the young linebackers that are playing on the weak side, the will linebacker spot, Nikhai Hill-Green and Junior Colson, and telling them, not what to do, but maybe giving them a reminder a little bit, because sometimes the young guys playing in some tough games, especially in the Big Ten, can get a little bit lost out there. And I think those guys have been solid, but a lot of that is because of Josh Ross. But his individual play himself has been, bolstered, I think, by this new defensive scheme. They're putting him in more blitzing situations. He's got 5 quarterback hurries. He's got some tackles for loss on his own. And, he's kind of like a bat out of hell when he does blitz, and he's faster than we've ever seen him play. Led the team in tackles last year, but feels different this season. He doesn't have as many tackles through 6 games as he did a year ago because he has more help around him and because he missed a half against Rutgers. But he is playing some really good football right now. He's not that guy that's going to go first round for you, but he's one of the smarter players on this team, if not the smartest, and one of the best leaders, communicators on the team, and is also always in the right spot. And I think that's big in this defense where, you rely on the linebackers to flow downhill a little bit in a 3-4 system. And if you're in the right spot, you're going to make plays, and he's made his fair share.
There's been discussion since Dax Hill has emerged that, where do we put this guy in the secondary where he can make the most impact? And again, he's just a tremendous player and will be one at the next level, I would think. 29 tackles, his second on the team, 4 passes defensed, a couple interceptions. Dax Hill, one of the best in the conference, if not the nation.
His interception against Nebraska was unbelievable. I didn't think he caught it from my angle. There was kind of a guy blocking, exactly how he caught that thing. Drops the interception, not dropped. It would have been really tough. Falls to the ground. But like if you watch that in slow-mo, which they showed, on the video board, at least in the stadium, he's just still tracking the ball as he slams to the ground, after a tough play, still tracking that ball, comes away with it. It was kind of almost like the Julian Edelman catch against the Falcons in the Super Bowl. So it was an unbelievable interception. And that was just one of quite a few plays that he's starting to make even more. He's always been one of the better players on this team. And I kind of like how Michigan has 1-star type of guy at each level. We talked about Aidan Hutchinson. You have Josh Ross in the middle, and you have Dax Hill, who's playing lined up over the slot. He's playing some free safety, but mostly in that nickel role over the slot guy, covering the other team's best receiver on many occasions, but also coming in blitzing. We saw him, have that knockout blow on Graham Mertz the week before against Wisconsin, also had an interception in that game. They're disguising him really well where he'll show blitz, then drops in coverage. He's keeping opposing quarterbacks guessing. And next thing you know, like Graham Mertz, he's coming off your blind side and, delivering a clean shot to the ribs that looked very painful. And I think it was evidenced by the fact that he didn't return in that game. But those are just a few examples of what he's done. He's been steady back there, really helping out, I think, a group of cornerbacks who are okay but haven't been great. But to have his presence back there and his ability to play corner, too, when they need to in a certain matchup has just been massive for this team. You mentioned his future. Looks like he's starting to get some of those first-round grades. There's been 2 mock drafts in the last week or so that have him in the first round. And I think when others start updating him, the Mel Kipers and all them, as they start to do towards the end of the season, you're going to see him up there. And rightfully so right now. He's playing some really good football. And I think Mike McDonald, defensive coordinator, is putting him in better spots than he's ever been.